Elgin, Illinois. They were high school sweethearts, but they've now been married for 67 years. In April of 1941, Mal Middlesworth made a decision, and he left Elgin. He joined the United States Marine Corps, and that launched him on a series of events that would take him across the Pacific at a time of war. And it started right here, 70 years ago today, just on the other side of the structure you see in this general direction, on the other side of an area known as the Southeast Lock. He was on the USS San Francisco. He was on duty. And I'm going to let him tell his story in his words. But I would like to hear a warm welcome for Platoon Sergeant Mal Middlesworth.
I used to be 6'4", but you shrink a little with age. General Thiessen, Leslie, ladies and gentlemen, we gather here today to commemorate the 70th anniversary of one of the most significant events of the 20th century. We do this best by honoring all who gave their lives on all of the military bases on the island of Oahu that Sunday, not just Pearl Harbor. We also commemorate those comrades who have died since the attack, and those survivors who cannot make one more trip to join us here today, for we want to honor them for their sacrifice and service. We would be remiss if we did not also recognize the hardships the attack inflicted on the civilian population, affecting many local families for generations. The day of infamy united our country as never before. The country rallied around the slogan, "Remember Pearl Harbor." The home front responded with sacrifice and dedication and built an industrial complex that would not only manufacture the tools of war, but would also provide the prosperity and the jobs for the troops when they returned home. Unlike World War I, there were no reparations demanded from the enemies. On Veterans Day, my wife and I visited a Christian school in Southern California. The students ranged from preschool to 8th grade. Their parents obviously were there. However, their proud grandfathers also attended, who were World War II veterans. After the ceremony, the veterans lined up outside the school, and they passed by, all the students passed by, class by class. They shook our hands and said, "Thank you for your service," or something similar. On my right was a survivor from the USS West Virginia. On my left, a survivor from Wheeler Field. Preschool to 8th grade. Each handshake and each comment from these young people are the reasons why the enduring legacy of Pearl Harbor means so much to me. Pearl Harbor Survivors Association has been dedicated to speaking to students across the nation since its inception in 1958. We all wanted generations to explore the history of Pearl Harbor with the men and women who were actually there. That's why our San Diego chapter has talked to over 104,000 students since December of 1987. They wanted young America to understand that freedom isn't free, never has been, looks like it's never going to be. That's why so many schools and agencies like the National Park Service and the Library of Congress have recorded and videotaped thousands of survivors' oral histories for future generations. Remember, he who forgets history will live it again. Our local chapters have erected memorials in many national and private cemeteries. Many of our nation's highways and bridges have been dedicated to Pearl Harbor through the efforts of our local members. We made certain that the Navy included a ship named Pearl Harbor. The Aloha chapter has raised over $125,000 in the last 6 years by signing, autographing pictures and other documents. And State Chairman Ray Emery continues his challenge to recognize the unidentified remains of victims of the attack and then return them to their families. To me, the most significant part of the enduring legacy is what we did after Pearl Harbor. On December 7th, I was a member of the Marine Detachment of the heavy cruiser USS San Francisco in Pearl Harbor. The San Francisco would win 17 major battle stars and the first presidential unit citation of the war. On December 16, we left Pearl Harbor for Wake Island. In February of 1942, the Frisco was involved in air attacks on New Guinea. Butch O'Hara that day shot down 5 planes and became an instant ace. At 2 a.m. on November 13th, we would take 50 shells, 12 of them from 2 Japanese battleships, in a night ship-to-ship battle at Guadalcanal. We had no battleships. We won the battle, and the enemy battleships were sunk. Basically, everybody topside was either killed or wounded. I was blown from the navigation bridge to the signal bridge by an anti-personnel shell. I asked to get off the ship when my loader on my 20 millimeter was killed by a 40 millimeter shell from one of our own aircraft carriers. I was standing where he was shot just a couple of seconds before he was hit. However, the Marines are an equal opportunity employer. If you tire of cruising with the Navy, they will find you a beautiful tropical island. 4 months later, I found myself again at Guadalcanal, this time as a member of the 1st Marine Division, preparing to invade the island of Peleliu. The 1st Marine Division suffered so many casualties, the Army 81st Division was added to the forces on the island. Both units suffered over 50% casualties, totally 6,800 deaths. The Japanese lost 12,000 men. This was the highest casualty rate for U.S. troops on any battle in the Pacific theater. My being at Pearl Harbor on December 7th has provided me with the honor of being a member of a very unique band of brothers and sisters, the Pearl Harbor Survivors Association. The association thanks the Navy, the National Park Service, and the Pacific Historic Park staff for allowing us to participate in this 70th anniversary event. For it is they who must continue the enduring legacy we leave behind. Let no author, historian, or politician attempt to rewrite the history of what happened here 70 years ago. You sitting in the audience must be the guardians of our truth. Let no one disturb the sacred water in the harbor. They hold the watery graves of that date of infamy, and those among us whose ashes are yet to join you. Remember Pearl Harbor. Keep America alert. God bless you, and God bless America.